Hi everybody, I hope you are doing well. I'm sorry I didn't post a video on Wednesday because I had an audition in New York that I needed to get to, so I was preparing for the audition, and once I was finished preparing for the audition, I went straight to New York City, went to my destination, came right back, and then by the time I got back it's late because, with the train from New Haven to New York City, it's an hour and a half. So, that's an hour and a half there, then having to catch either a taxi, a bus, the subway, or walking to your destination. That's some more time right there. And then, going through your audition, depending on how many people are there, and then coming back from your audition, you basically spent the whole day in New York. Gonna take these glasses off because there is some glare. I was outside doing some yard work, but from my lighting in this room, I just want to keep off the glare. But one thing that I want to talk about today, I actually had another subject, but I decided to change that because a few weeks ago I spoke about digging down to the root system to see what the cause is for things that may be going on in your life. So I want to go back to that because I was thinking about my father driving today, and my father wasn't necessarily a father to me or my sister, but my father was a good man. My father had a lot of problems that he unfortunately died with and took with him, and my father had a 45-year drug problem. So, part of that kept him from being a father, and then after, he got clean from the drugs, for a while, he still didn't really reach out to me or my sister. So me and my sister grew up without him. We grew up with our mothers, and unfortunately, this is still a thing that goes on, that, we have, single family homes, whether it's, with the mother or with the father. And, unfortunately, some kids can think that they're not good enough because the mother isn't there or the father isn't there. And I have to say that, I was blessed. I was fortunate not to have thought that or gone through that, because I didn't see that anything was missing necessarily, because I was always made to believe that, I could do anything, I can be anybody. And I had so much love around me because I grew up in a big family on my mother's side of the family. But on my father's side of the family, I have to say that, my grandparents and my aunt and my uncle, they were always there. So, when my father did come around, it's like, okay, he came around. Plus I had another male figure that helped raise me, so I also consider him my father, and I love him very much. But we have to be very careful of what we take with us to our future and what we leave in the root system, because sometimes what's in your root system came from what was in your parents' root system. Because I could have easily took on some of his stuff. I could have took on his drug problems. I could have took on his not being there, not being responsible. But luckily my mother, my grandmother, and my other father, they gave me a different type of root systems, which I was able to grasp from. Because, when my father died, there was some questions. I found out how necessarily he got started on drugs. I wasn't sure, what was the root cause of that. So, unfortunately, that had to die with him. And sometimes us as, the descendants of our parents, we take on a lot of their pain, but there's some times where you can't take on some of their pain, and some of those questions have to be unanswered. So with him passing away, almost, no, he's only been dead a year and a half. So, unfortunately, there's a lot of unanswered questions, so that have to stay with him, and I can't let that affect how I go forward, because if we constantly dig into the bad part of the root system and we take on those generational curses, as they're called, that affects me to the next generation, to the next generation, to the next generation. So at some point we have to put some weed killer on the root system. So if there's some bad stuff that's down there, we have to clean it out, and we have to put something on it so it doesn't come back, because I do believe that you can be healed from anything. Some people say that you can't. I had a friend that was talking about his situation. He was like, I'll never be healed from that. And if you think that, then that's exactly what's going to happen. You're never going to be healed from those demons and those bad situations that go on, but you can be healed from that. It's all about your mindset and all about the work that you're willing to do on yourself and what you're willing to put in it that can get you healed. Because like I said, he had a 45-year drug problem. I didn't take on any of that. He had a lack of, not not being around, not communicating with me or my sister, not even getting us together. Because we didn't really get together until we were older. I was 18 years old, and she's older than me. She was the firstborn. And we got ourselves together, and we forged a relationship from there. And it's a shame that we had to do this as kids, that sometimes your parents, can't do that. Our mothers worked. Her mother was a single mother. My mother was a single mother. So they worked to support us, and things just happened. But, we were able to get together, and we have a good relationship. I admire her as a person. And she's a very smart person, and I'm not sure if she'll ever see this, but I do admire her, and I admire her strength. But, but we can get trapped into our root system, into the habits of our parents. Now, when you know better, you got to do better, because if your parents had something that necessarily didn't work for them and it caused some destruction in their future life, don't let that go into your root system. Don't let that go into your future life, because it can destroy you. Now, I'm not a perfect person. Sometimes I wonder things or whatever. But, as far as my father's death, I'm at peace with it. I'm at peace with him being gone. I'm at peace with some questions not being answered as to how he got there and all that. That has to go with him. I can't take that on in my future life and let that be go into my future and whatever root system that I decide to lay down as far as children or grandchildren. I can't let that go into them. And then you got all this poison. You got years and years and years of poison, and you don't know where it came from. You may have suspected that it came from your father, but it may have came from your grandfather, your great-grandfather, or your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, because these generational curses, some of them have been going on quite a long time, and it's time to be able to put some weed killer on that root system. So this is part of doing the work on yourself, figuring out, what doesn't work in your life and what does work in your life, so you can excel higher in the things that do work in your life, but the things that don't work in your life, figure out what's going on and figure out where it came from, figure out what's in that root system so you can fix it, because anything can be cured, anything can be fixed. Don't let anybody tell you that it can't, because a changed mind will get you a changed life. Okay? A changed mind will get you a changed life. So, what are you doing to change your mind? What are you doing to change your life? What are you doing to grow? And what are you doing to stop what's in the root system that's not good growing, and then making this bad plant? Because everything in the root system shows up. And for example, when you eat bad food, shows up on the skin. When you eat bad food, when whatever's bad in there will eventually come to the surface. So sometimes we're wondering why we're sick, we're in pain and all that. Some of it is the food we eat, and some of it is what we have laid down in our root system and what our parents passed down to us in our root system. Do you ever wonder why sometimes you may get an attitude and you're very easily set off? Look at the root system. Sometimes you wonder why you're not hearing somebody, or why your listening skills aren't as good, and why you're not open to a suggestion. Sometimes look in the root system. The root system holds the key to a lot of what's going on in your life. I just wanted to come back to that, because on the way home when I was driving, and I was thinking about my father and just wondering why he had some of the issues that he had. And I said, you know what? I'm not necessarily sure what was in his root system, but all I know is I have to have a clean root system, and I have to work on what's in my root system. So that goes for you that are watching this video as well. Work on what's in your root system, because when we start changing our minds, our life will change. When we start changing what's in that root system, what comes to the surface is going to be different. Because if you're constantly getting the same result in your life and things aren't looking at any different, what is in the root system? Work on that root system. Your life can change if you want it to change. Your life can be anything that you want it to be. Stop letting people tell you that it can't. You have to be able to see what you want in front of you. Work on your root system. You have an amazing mind. The mind is an amazing computer. If you tell it what to do, it will do it. If you tell it what to see, it will see it. Work on your root system. Be the best you that you can be. Show the world you, and don't hold back, because sometimes as people, and this is real talk, sometimes we're playing it safe. We're hiding behind this wall here, and this wall is blocking us from getting to the other side because we're playing it safe. Because behind this wall, nothing can hurt us. But that's not true. Look at what's on the other side of this wall. What's on the other side of this wall, if it's not working and you're just constantly seeing a dead end and you're just constantly seeing a wall, that's not good. You got to constantly dream. Continue to dream, continue to progress, continue to reach, continue to knock down walls and become a Martin Luther King, become a Rosa Parks, become a Harriet Tubman, become a Claudette Colvin. Like that boy said in the video for Black History Month, if Martin didn't march, if Rosa or Claudette Colvin didn't sit, and if Harriet Tubman didn't lead, and if Barack Obama didn't run, stop playing it safe. Sometimes playing it safe is not good. Sometimes you have to be open and venture out. Okay, because you never know what's waiting for you if you constantly play safe. Get out of that safe zone. Get out of that zone and go into what necessarily fears you. If there's something that you're constantly fearing, face it. Okay, this is Faithful Friday. Continue to be with me. Give me some thumbs up. I love you all for those who have been with me, and share this video, okay? Have a great Friday, and I will see you on Monday. And as always, let's do this.